Now, this is something that I've wanted to talk about for a while now. I've just been kind of busy. I haven't really got around to it. But it turns out some leaks today have actually kind of perpetuated this. So I figured now would be a good time to go ahead and make this little video here. And it's basically about how the DNC just straight up backstabbed Bernie. And the reason I'm using backstabbed is because that's exactly what this guy said here. Or at least that's what John Podesta, Hillary's campaign chair, implied here. So this is a new email. It starts off by the Super PAC donor saying, Bernie needs to be ground into a pulp. We can't start believing in our own primary bullshit. This is no time to run the general. Crush him as hard as you can. Other than that, hope all is well and congrats on Nevada. And John Podesta, Hillary's campaign chair, replies with, I agree with that in principle. Where would you stick the knife in? So basically, Hillary's campaign chair and this super rich DNC donor, they're talking about the best ways to backstab Bernie, to stick a knife in Bernie. They basically want him down, destroyed, ground to a pulp, as he said. But see, this is what I think is so substantial, and everyone's focusing on the backstabbing part. And I mean, it's a catchy headline, don't get me wrong, that's why I'm using it myself. But the thing you should pay attention to is this guy saying, we can't start believing in our own primary bullshit. They're basically saying, they're saying stuff, but they don't even believe it themselves. They're just saying it to get votes out. And they're saying it because Bernie Sanders is actually doing really well saying all this stuff. So they have to say it themselves. But this guy's saying, oh, we need to put a stop to it. We need to stop believing in the stuff we say. Now, that was just the newest email. There's a bunch of other ones. I'm just gonna go over a few more because I really want to get this point across because it's really disappointing. As much as I could disagree with Bernie, at least with Bernie, it's a fair fight about like policies and stuff. With Clinton, she plays so dirty. She's just so corrupt in general. With this email, you have this guy named Brent Badowski, and he's a writer for LA Progressive, the Huffington Post. He's basically a journalist who is very self-proclaimed progressive. And here in this email, he says, now I am beginning to cash in the chips by setting the stage carefully and tactfully for Bernie's people to gravitate toward Hillary by convention time. And I just think that is so despicable that this guy is talking to Hillary's campaign chair, this journalist. This journalist is saying, yeah, I got all these Bernie voters hyped up on my stories, but I'm gonna start changing them in hopes to push them towards Hillary. And it just shows they have this whole machine going on trying to round up as many votes as they can using any means they can. And it's just so dirty, and if I was a Bernie supporter, I would feel so betrayed by everyone, to be honest. Now, this email is also really important. This one here just shows, because the reason a lot of Bernie voters are hopping on Clinton's campaign trail or whatever is they're saying that Bernie has injected his policies into the DNC, into Clinton's campaign. But everyone at this point should know that is totally false, because that's just not how it works. I mean, these people won't give up that easily. And it shows right here in this email. They're saying, why not throw Bernie a bone? And they say, quote unquote, give Bernie this in the establishment's rules committee. His people will think they've won. Functionally, it doesn't make any difference anyways. And this is the whole reason. I know I really dislike both parties because both parties participate in this general corruption, I guess you could call it. But the dangerous and bad thing about the Democrats is people see them as the good party, as the moral ones, because they support things like gay rights and more progressive, I guess. But you see, by supporting these correct social things, they get this badge of honor that says, we're above all that, we're above corruption. And this just shows how shady and corrupt they are. I mean, they're saying, give Bernie a bone, make him think his people won so they're content. And I've always said a corrupt government success is content people. People that aren't angry, people that aren't riled up, that's who they want. They want the population to just be barely uncomfortable. Because if you're comfortable enough with your life, you don't want to risk it by protesting, by calling them out and everything. So if they give you what you want, then you won't argue with them. So I think this just shows that the DNC just does not care about Bernie. They care about his voters, they don't care about him. They'll say they'll implement stuff with his ideas and policies, but that's just, honestly, I think that's a flat out lie. This email kind of backs that up. The last thing, I've covered it a bunch of times now, but Donna Brazile, she fed debate questions early to Hillary. And this is the DNC chairwoman. She wasn't the DNC chairwoman yet, but she is now, and she's not fired. She hasn't resigned or stepped down. And I think this is so disgusting because Hillary Clinton supporters will say, oh, well, that's a typical question. She would have known anyways. And that is just the worst attitude I think anyone could ever say. It's just like, if you cheated on a test and you tell your professor, oh, I knew the material anyways, it's not that big of a deal, I think the professor would still care. I think the college would still care. But it's clear as day. It says from time to time I get the questions in advance. She just emailed this straight to the Hillary Clinton campaign. The high-ups in the DNC were never on both sides. They were never neutral. They were always in it for Hillary. And you can tell that just by the superdelegates. Almost all of them were for Hillary before the race even began. I mean, it's just so messed up. But I hope you guys can see how the DNC, no one's gonna care about Bernie's policies. They care about his voters. After he serves his usefulness, he's gonna get dropped. And I think the third party candidate, Jill Stein, said it best when she said, if you were a Bernie supporter and you're now voting for Hillary Clinton, you're just rubber stamping this corruption. And they'll just continue doing this until, I guess, people just say, you know what, we're not going to vote for the person you prop up. We're not going to vote for the person you push through with corruption. And honestly, until that happens, it's not going to stop. If you have anything to say, just leave it in the comments. I'll definitely look at them. I look at every single comment, even if I don't reply. And I'll see you next time.